Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. The Committee on Water and Land is on its hearing notice of March 19th. Today's Friday at 1 p.m. And we welcome everyone here. Just some housekeeping. I do want to say that we have our committee members present here. Senator Nisa Lucha, she's here in person, as well as Senator Revere. I see Senator Favela in Zoom land, and we also have our Vice Chair Keith Agaran, who will be joining us on Zoom land as well. And we welcome all those testifiers. This meeting and just some... This meeting. Okay, cut it out, Senator Favela. I need to get our meeting going. And to welcome all of you, this meeting, including the audio and video of remote participants, is being streamed live on YouTube, and you will find the links to viewing options for all Senate meetings on the live and on-demand video page of the legislature's website. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to major technical difficulties, the Water and Land Committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business at 1:10 p.m. on Monday, March 22nd, in this room, 229, and on YouTube. A public notice will be posted on the legislature's website if this hearing is to be delayed. And those participating there in Zoom land, the testifier audio is muted, then the video disabled until shortly before it is your turn to testify, and you all have 2 minutes to testify, and there is a time limit as well. Okay, members, we got a full agenda here. HB 1020 relating to adaptive natural resource management, and it authorizes the Board of Land and Natural Resources to temporarily adopt, amend, and repeal certain natural resource rules by formal BLNR action at a publicly noticed meeting if BLNR finds that such adoption, amendment, or repeal is necessary to implement effective and adaptive management measures in response to rapidly changing resource conditions. DLNR, Brian Nelson, aloha.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Brian Nielsen, Administrator, Division of Aquatic Resources. We stand on our written testimony in support and available for questions. I've also got our Program Manager, David Sakota, available as well for questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate your attendance as well. Kua'aina ulu a'amo, and we do have either Kevin or Miwa. Kevin Chang, are you on? Or Miwa Tamanaha? Don't see anyone, but if they show up, we'll call them, and they send testimony in support. Members, we do have testimonies from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs in support. Malama Pupukea of Waimea, my district, I believe, or could be Kauai, Jenny Yagodich, as well as the Hawaii Fishermen's Alliance for Conservation and Tradition, Philip Fernandez. Also in opposition, we do have Ronald Tam and Inga Gibson testifying for the Fishes, a really active group. Members, any questions with regards to HB 1020? Okay, hearing none, then let's proceed with the second item is HB 1018, House Draft 2. We'd like to welcome, I see our Vice Chair there in Zoom land, Senator Gil Agaran has joined us. Relating to lay nets, and this is HB 1018, House Draft 2. It authorizes DLNR to adopt rules to establish a lay net permit for the use of possession of lay nets, including reasonable permit fees and provisions for revocation, suspension, and withholding of permits for non-compliance with lay net rules. Brian as well, still on this one?
Yes, aloha, Chair. We stand on our written testimony and are available for questions. Thank you.
Okay, let's see, we do have letter communications in support from Malama Pupukea in Waimea, Anthony Ching, Victoria Anderson, and Inga Gibson. I think, you know, I have a question, Brian, and actually, I think this is the one, LayNet, that has to do with the incidences that we've had with the turtles and the monk seals. And I think my question is, do you know where most of the issues regarding these incidences are within our state?
Yeah, so DoCare does, provide analysis of their investigations, and the number one hotspot we see across the state is Kaneohe, but it's also the number one fisheries-related violation across the state, are LayNet-related violations. So it's definitely an issue that we'd like to, have more stringent management on, and we think a permit system would help that.
Okay, members, any questions? Yes, well, I'm glad that you're finding something that we can move on to protect our native species. Members, let's move on to HB 1020.
Sorry, Chair.
Oh, yes, Senator Favela.
I remember when I think this came up before. So you guys are going to be able to handle the permitting process or the LayNet permitting process. I know at one time you guys, I don't know if there enough staff. You guys will be able to do the processing on these LayNet permits?
Yeah, we do have sufficient staff to process the permits. We'll also try to develop an online permit, so remote neighbor island staff aren't inconvenienced too much by the process.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay,
Thank you.
welcome. Let's move on then to HB 1017, House Draft 1, and this is relating to crustaceans. This repeals Section 188-58.5 of the HRS, which prohibits the taking or killing of female spiny lobsters, kona crabs, and Samoan crabs as well. Let's see, who's going to take this one? Is that Jason?
I believe this is,
Oh,
Dar is leading on this
1017.
one.
Oh, you know what? I missed
Yeah.
it. We'll come back to 20. Okay, let's
2021.
proceed though with 1017 since we're on. Okay, so 1017, Brian, I think that's you or David Sakura?
Yes, we stand on our written testimony, but both of us are available for questions. Thank you.
Okay, and I guess, we got a testifier. Clayton Kubo, are you on for HB 1017?
Clayton is not available, Chair.
Okay, he sends communication in support. Thank you. And testifying, we have a communication support from the Hawai'i Fishermen's Alliance for Conservation and Tradition. Sorry, members, any questions on HB 1017? Otherwise, let's go back to HB 1021. And this is relating to the Interstate Wildlife Violator Compact. This authorizes the DLNR to enter into the Interstate Wildlife Violator Compact or similar agreements for mutual assistance in the enforcement of wildlife laws. And members, we did hear this in the Senate. It went on to the next committee that was stalled in JDC. And so here we do have the House bill as well. So maybe, sorry, Jason, are you there, or is it going to be Ian?
Yes, thank you, Chair and members of the committee. Jason Redula, the LNR's Enforcement Chief. The department will stand on its written testimony in strong support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, is Ted Boland there from Hawaii Reef and Ocean Coalition?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I am here.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Good to
Vice
see
Chair.
you.
I'd just like to point out, we can stand on our written testimony, which you have, but I would just like to point out that Hawaii is one of only 2 states in the country that haven't entered into this interstate compact. We've been trying for several years. It would be great to join the other 48 states that have passed this compact. It's a good way to help deal with poaching and with other violations of law, so that you don't have to go through all the legal process. You can try people as though they're residents of the state. It's a way to save resources for the enforcement people, and I strongly urge the committee to please adopt this statute. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we understand it's a good bill. We do have several other support communications as well from the Hawaiian Humane Society, the Animal Rights Hawaii, the Friends of Hanauma Bay, the Humane Society of the United States, and we have an individual, and for the fishes as well, and also the Congressional Sportsman Foundation. Members, any questions with regards to this pretty good bill that we need to be registered on? Okay, let's proceed then to HB 1030, and this is relating to the Aquatic Life and Wildlife Advisory Committees, and this repeals the Aquatic Life and Wildlife Advisory Committees and makes conforming amendments. We do have, Brian, are you on for this one for DLNR?
Yes, and we stand on our written testimony in support. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Joanne Williamson, are you on? Okay, she sends communication in support. And we also, yes, Senator?
Excuse me, this is Joanne Williamson. I'm on for,
HB 244?
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, proceed.
HB 244. Thank you. I stand by my written testimony in support and am available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sending your testimony. We also have, let's see. That was, no, did she send in for 1030? Okay, all right, thank you. Let's proceed then with, did I make an error? Was it HB 1030 we just finished? Okay, all right. Let's proceed then with HB 244, House Draft 1. And this is relating to land recordation. This amends the data requirements for land recordation by the Bureau of Conveyances on land other than fee simple timeshare interest deregistered by the land court to include a map and description prepared by a licensed professional surveyor. And I believe 244, we have Joanne Williamson. Is that Joanne there?
Yes, and this was the one that I was testifying about. Thank you.
Okay, proceed.
I stand on support of my written testimony. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Christine Villa, testifying for the Hawaii Land Surveyors Association. She sends communication in support, as well as many in support. The Hawaii Land Surveyors Association, Mayor Cummings, we have Carl Nishio, Victor Rascado, Leanne Villa, Cliff Yim, Crystal Yamasaki, and Leo Bell, all in support for this land recordation bill before us, members. Any questions? Okay, moving on. Let's proceed then with HB 502, House Draft 2, and this is relating to the rural districts. It authorizes the counties to adopt ordinances that allow up to one dwelling per quarter acre in rural districts. Let's see, Department of Ag, is it Phyllis or we got
Morris.
Morris? Good afternoon, Morris, good to see you.
Good afternoon, Chair and I, committee members. The department was down on its written testimony, but I did want to highlight the rationale for our testimony. Basically, we are ever vigilant about the risks of urbanization of ag land, and given the proximity of rural district lands to ag lands, we're concerned that this any I guess efforts to make it possible for urbanization to occur could pose a possible risk to or incentivize the development of ag lands, and so that's really our concern that we're posing in our testimony. Thank you.
Okay, but Morris, it wouldn't be that many lands, right, within any rural district on any of the islands?
True, and in our testimony, we point that out, that the rural district is a very small, classification in the total, land use scheme. But it's just the possibility that given the, I guess, development opportunities on the rural district, it could incentivize, neighboring ag district owners, if they wanted to, capitalize on that, to upgrade or, their classification in order to take advantage of these, benefits that you can get in the rural district, since it's probably easier to get a reclassification from urban to rural rather than going from from ag to rural rather than going directly from ag to urban. And it's just I guess conceptually we just want to be aware that that possibility exists, and that's basically our testimony, that's our concern.
Okay, well, coming from all of us who's born and raised here, or even those that have been living here for a long time, it seems like that's kind of like our lifestyle, like you have backyard gardens. And let me share with you what I found in at farmers markets, and also talking to some of our small farmers that provide any type of commodities to the farmers market. And I came across a lot of them like grow herbs, and some just hydroponically or wherever, and it's not a large area. And I think, it's pretty much, I think, compatible with rural districts, because those that may want to grow some fruit trees, to me, I think it just adds to the ambiance of a rural district as well. And, it can't help because we're Hawai'i and a tropical island. Well, that's my opinion too, but members, any questions?
Are you doing questions or are there other testifiers? Because I do have some questions.
No. Since, I always, once the testifier is on, I prefer you asking that at that
Thank you.
time. Senator Revere?
Thank you. Thanks, Morris. We have the four land classifications. We've got conservation, agriculture, rural, and urban. And it's my understanding that the rural designation is meant to be, rural, not urban and not agriculture. And the limitation of a half acre is 22,000 square feet or something like that.
Right.
A quarter acre is just about 10,000, which is already covered in the urban category. Would you agree with that, Morris? That,
Yes.
the urban is meant to be 10,000 square foot lots and smaller. So are you concerned that rural will not really have any unique, there'd be no purpose for rural at that point if we basically allow it to be zoned as small as urban.
Not really, we're not worried so much about the distinction between rural and urban because, you know, we agree that it's intended to be a classification that's somewhere between urban and ag, and it intended to include residential, you know, dwelling and all that. So it's more a question of the ability of owners in the ag district to want or to incentivize them if they're interested in developing and capitalizing on the higher values that you can get with, you know, housing development and all that, that it creates an incentive. And again, the reason why we're not opposing the measure is because we recognize the need for housing, and we recognize Chair Inouye's comments about, you know, lifestyle and all that. So we basically just wanted to put it out there that we have this concern because as a department, we're ever vigilant about any, I guess, opportunities or incentives for upzoning agricultural lands, and, you know, we make every effort to try and at least comment if we see a potential of that happening. That's basically what we're saying. We're in agreement with how you characterize, you know, the difference between rural and urban lands.
Just seems to me if we're trying to maintain that in-between category, a half acre is not such a, it's not such a small piece of, I mean, it's not that big of a piece of land, and I just, so anyway,
Okay,
Chair, I think we disagree on that.
all right, sure.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, all right. Ken Hiraki sends communication in support representing the Hawaii Association of Realtors. Members, any more and further discussion on HB 502? Seeing none, then let's proceed to HB 834, House Draft 1. And this is relating to a black cinder cone quarry site survey. And as you know, members and those out there, you only see black cinders out on the Big Island. So this requires DLNR in collaboration with the County of Hawaii to conduct site surveys to identify the most suitable locations for black cinder cone quarries on the island of Hawaii. This requires a report to the legislature, and it appropriates funds. And let's see, we got Kevin Moore representing DLNR today, or who is on?
Good afternoon, Chair. Russell.
Okay, Russell, thank you.
We did provide comments on this bill, noting that the department is not necessarily experts in this identifying appropriate cone cinders, black cone cinders for this ag operation, and so we are seeking an appropriation, and there's an appropriation in blank in the bill, and we're asking that it be filled in at the amount of $150,000, because we probably gotta retain someone in the industry, like geologist or something like that, mineralogist, to help us identify appropriate areas,
Okay,
together with the county.
so you'll have to get a consultant or a contractor for this project then?
Yeah, we checked in.
Understanding.
I don't have anybody in land, and engineering also said, so didn't have anyone, so
Sure.
we're gonna be retaining someone.
Understandable. CTAR? Who's online for CTAR? Is it Dr. Comerford?
Yeah, Chair, Nick Comerford here, Dean of the College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources. We would like to stand on our testimony in support because of the importance of this material to the agricultural industry. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Coming from the ag industry on the Big Island, I know it's pretty much, I think, the access to where we had, we took advantage of buying cinders and those in the quarry, but it's being pretty much depleted, so the industry needs to look for new sites as well. And so hopefully, this measure will be able to get some funding to assist DLNR to do this project. We do have supports from the industry as well, Gordon Inoue, Eric Tanoe from HFNA, and that's the floral industry, HDFC, and also that came from Thong Tang Neil and John Tanoe from OGOH, all in support of this measure. Any questions with regards to 834? Okay, let's move on to HB 497, House Draft 1, and this is relating to county zoning ordinances. This prohibits the counties from requiring as part of a county zoning ordinance or county rule a developer with more than one residential unit to obtain the approval of any state agency unless that approval is expressly required by law. Office of Planning, Rodney, are you on today? Rodney Funakoshi?
Hi, good afternoon, Chair.
Good to see you.
Hi. The Office of Planning offered comment. I'm Rodney Funakoshi, I'm sorry, from the State Office of Planning. So we offer just comment on the bill standing on our list. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Office of Hawaiian Affairs, is it Kamakana today, or who do we have today from OHA?
Hi, aloha Chair, aloha members of the committee. My name is Kamakana Ferreira. I'm the lead compliance specialist with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. We stand by our written comments in opposition to this measure, but I'd like to highlight if this measure passes as written, it'll be detrimental to a couple of existing rezoning ordinances, and also take away the county's ability to choose what's right for their communities. We stand by for any questions you folks may have.
Okay. Thank you. Sandy Wong?
Yes, good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair Inouye and Vice Chair Keith Algaron. This is Sandy Wong on behalf of Dowling Company. We have submitted written testimony and strong support. I just wanted to highlight some of the rationale for us supporting this bill. We're supporting this bill because we think it will reduce the duplication in the permitting and regulatory process. And by doing that, it will decrease the cost of housing in Hawaii. As we all know, housing in Hawaii is much needed. And also it will create jobs for our local workforce. I'm here if you have any questions, so thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. Mike Kakani for Hawaii Community Foundation. In support, we do have two more oppositions from Charles Prentice and Marty Downson. We do have support from Jason Fujimoto of HPM Hawaii on Big Island. We got Miles Miyasato from the Operating Engineers Stabilization Funding support as well. Members, any questions on HB 497?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, okay, Senator Revere.
Sandy,
For
please.
Sandy, you available? Sandy Wong?
Hi, Sandy.
Sandy.
Thank you.
I'm here, sorry.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Do you have examples of what are these extra layers of permitting that the counties are requiring that this bill would impact?
Yes, I can give you one example. You know that the county will require that the developer would get the state historic preservation approval, but then they'll also require that other agencies have to approve on these same issues. For example, with all due respect, like OHA. And our concern is, you know, state historic preservation is the state agency. They have the expertise, and so we don't feel that there needs to be another agency that is not required by the statute chiming in simply because all they're doing is duplicating work, raising the cost for the state because you have multiple agencies doing it, and it is delaying the process. And when you delay the process, you know, time is money.
So OHA is an example. Are there others, or is that the one of the primary ones in that example?
That is the only example I am aware of. I can get you more examples if you would like, but the situation that I'm aware of is that that developers have gotten the approval of state historic preservation or another of the agencies with the expertise, but for some reason the counties are also requiring that OHA signs off on it, whether or not OHA has the expertise or not, and then that delays the process.
But don't we delegate zoning and permitting and those kind of land use decisions? Isn't that the kuleana of the counties?
You know, I don't know that for a fact, but you know, I will take you at your word, subject to check. However, the thing we need to be careful about is that we can't just give them blanket authority, because if I'm a county, and let's say, and I'm doing a hypothetical, this is a Sandy Wong hypothetical. If I'm a county council person and I don't like development, and so a developer comes in that's going to do affordable housing that's going to be good for our communities, provide lots of jobs for our local workforce, but I'm a council person who doesn't like development. You know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it as difficult as possible for that to go through. So I'm going to say, you know, I want state agency A, B, and C also to sign off on this. Even though state agency A, B, or C may have no expertise in this area or no jurisdiction, and that's something that we're trying to prevent.
But is that a real concern? I mean, a council member doesn't just unilaterally throw down fiats like that. There would have to be the council passing that. There would be a process, would there not? And the permitting department would have processes. I'm not sure if...
No, the counties on rezoning, sorry to enter, but the councils do make their own suggestions
The
as well.
councils, yeah, but not an
approval.
individual, so it would have to be the, anyway, I guess we'll, to leave it there in the sake of time.
No problem.
I think we're treading on their home rule, yep, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Chair,
Yes, Senator Favela.
yeah, for Sandy, so this is similar to like, how the check and balances, stopped the Kaka'ako project, right? Most people have seen them, so that's why the project got killed. That's similar what you're saying?
Yeah, you know, a lot of times, you know, it's like if you have, you know, I'm all for checks and balances when a project comes for permitting, you know, but, you know, it has to be something that is doable. If you put too many hurdles on a developer, they're just going to do projects. Or if they do projects, the projects are going to cost a lot of money. And so we're asking that there be some balance, and we ask that there be no duplication. And you know, Senator Cravella, I just wanted to chime in. I am a proud Campbell saver, and so I just wanted to let you know. Lots of people think I'm a townie, but I'm a Campbell saver.
Okay. Okay.
Just the process, yeah, sorry, one more, just the process of going forward. I know you're talking about checks and balances, we don't want to duplicate the process, and nobody wants to, but when we have a project coming up and we don't have enough people looking into it, and then we find out later that the process is flawed because we didn't have enough checks and balances. For one, I can give an example that's going through court right now for variance change. One of them was the impact on the Kahuku windmills being too close to residential and schools. And that process wasn't looked in really well too, and it went through. And now it's going backwards in the process because of the health and welfare of the community. So that's the only thing I'm afraid of this bill going forward, that some extra checks and balances and somebody's with different eyes looking into the projects. But I understand the costs and whatnot, but I just wanted to make sure that when we go forward, that we have those extra eyes and voices. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? I do have a request, but I think I did receive communication from Marty Townsend, and you weren't on the sign in to speak, but I understand you're on. Marty, are you going to speak on 497?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Anyway, yes. All right.
Thank you very much, Chair Noy, Vice Chair Keith Agaran, and members of the committee. We stand in strong opposition to this bill. You have our written testimony. In our experience at the Sierra Club, it is at the county level when the details really start to come out about a project and when the community has an opportunity to really engage in decision making. And so we find that the counties being, more close to the ground and understanding the impacts of a proposed project are better able to collaborate with state agencies and use that state authority in a proper way to make sure that the interests of the immediate community are met. We've also found that where we don't have good engagement with the community, as you find at the county and city and county levels, we actually have strong opposition to projects, and things actually get more delayed because the community who felt that they were not properly engaged in the decision-making process put up their own form of roadblocks and obstacles. And we really want to avoid that kind of engagement and instead engage the community early on in the process where there's still opportunity to make informed changes. And we feel at the county council level is a time to do that. And the way the system works now really encourages that collaboration between county level decision-making and state level decision-making. Thank you very much.
Okay, any discussions on HB 497? Okay, let's proceed then, members, on to the last item on the agenda is HB 1130, House Draft 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss Office of Planning? Sorry, I see Rodney. Did I miss you? Sorry.
No, you're talking about which bill?
Are you?
497.
Okay, are you on 497? Did I? Were you on 497?
Very still on our written testimony, but thank you.
Oh, okay, because you did send testimony and I failed to call you.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. And your communication is on comments, yeah. Okay, let's proceed then with HB 1130, House Draft 2, and this is relating to Trans-Oriented Development, or TOD, as we all know. This requires the Office of Planning to hire a contractor to, among other things, identify and assess alternative financing, project delivery, and cost recovery mechanisms to recapture the state's upfront investment in TOD development infrastructure. It requires also the contractor to consult with representatives of certain government entities, requires the Office of Planning to report its findings to the legislature, and also authorizes the issuance of GEO bonds. Rodney, are you going to speak on behalf of Office of Planning?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Chair, and also Vice Chair and members. The Office of Planning stands on its written testimony in strong support. We feel that infrastructure deficits are a major problem with TOD development, and this bill will fund study necessary to finance and cost share, see how we can better explore financing and cost sharing for infrastructure. Thank you.
Okay, any questions, members? Feel free to ask as our testifiers are up front.
Rodney, Chair.
Okay, Senator Mr. Lucha on to Rodney?
Rodney, yeah.
Okay, Rodney?
So I understand, and I can, I understand the rationale behind it, and your support of it, but how are we doing with the current situation? Is this not being done? I would assume that all this functions are, somehow people are already doing it, right? Considering that the rail has been, or transit-oriented development is still in progress. Do we need this bill, I guess, is the bottom line?
Yes, because what we're exploring is more the standard way to finance projects is through CIP, period, basically all government financing. But there's a lot of different ways that you can cost share, and so this would allow for further exploration. You know, this has been done on the mainland, and very little of that, some of these strategies have been used in Hawaii. And so what we need is to try to see how we can better cost share and fund the infrastructure, because right now, a lot of times they're either funded by government or put onto the private developer to implement. And so, and there's a lot of different more innovative tools that can be explored and used here that we want to try to see how we can use those.
Would this involve additional resources on your part, considering that you are in a way expanding your purview?
Not so much staff resources, because we would be procuring a consultant services to help develop and try to see how this can be implemented in Hawaii.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Chair.
All right, thank you. We have Denise Matsubara of HHFDC, and she's testifying for the Hawaii Interagency Council for TODs. Welcome, Denise.
Aloha, good afternoon, Chair Inouye, Vice Chair Keith Agaran, members of the committee. Denise Matsubara, testifying as co-chair of the TOD Council. We stand in strong support of this measure. I think getting back to Senator Misalucha's question, I think you asked a very good question, because I asked that of the staff myself, because there was a study in 2020 that dealt with infrastructure financing, and I asked the same question. What I found is that the study in 2020 did not go far enough in terms of implementing a strategy for financing, and also it relied heavily on GT financing, which is not a viable option right now. So I think the focus has to be on some type of value capture type of financing. And yes, OP knows, because I questioned them before this, is there's a lot of studies that they've commissioned so far. We need to get to some implementation and be more specific about what we are trying to achieve. So thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Happy to answer anything else. Thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity.
Okay, and you also will stand on your testimony as well, yeah?
Yes, thank you.
All right, any questions of our presenter, Denise, as well? Members, any questions or concerns regarding HB 1130? Hearing none, then the Committee on Water and Land is going to go into recess for decision-making as well. Okay. Thank you, folks. The Committee on Water and Land is going to go in decision-making on its hearing notice of March 19th, Friday at 1 p.m., going into decision-making. I'd also like to add that members, during the decision-making process, that all the bills passed with the Senate Draft 1 will contain the technical and non-substantive amendments as well. Okay, so just to let you know that automatically that will happen. Okay, let's proceed with HB 1020, House Draft 1, and this is the Adaptive Natural Resource Management. Chair's recommendation is to pass with an SD1 that has technical and non-substantive amendments. And I like the HVAC's comments referencing the 2 years, which is on page 5 line 6 and 7, and that's the section that's identified in HRS, which is the 183D-3 rule, and also which applies to page 8, line 17 and 18. This is another rule of HRS identified in Chapter 187A as an apple -5, and it reflects 2 years subject to renewal by the board for up to 1 year at a time. And my suggestion for the amendment is that the DLNR, after the 2 years, must come back to the legislature of its findings and actions after of the second of the 2-year period beginning in January 2023. It's suggesting that the legislature must approve going forward, subject to the renewal by the board. Okay. Any discussions? Seeing none, hearing none. Senator Misalucha for the vote, please. Chair goes aye.
For Committee on Water and Land, for House Bill 1020 HD1, Chair recommends pass with amendments. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Agaran.
Aye.
Senator Misalucha votes aye. Senator Riviere.
Aye.
Senator Favela. Senator Favela.
Aye.
You have 5 ayes. Your recommendation's adopted, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Let's proceed then, decision-making on HB 1018, House Draft 2, and this is relating to the lay nets. Chair's recommendation is that we pass this measure as is. Any discussion? And it does move on to Judiciary and Ways and Means. Okay, hearing none, by Senator Misalucha for the vote, Chair goes aye.
For House Bill 1018, Chair recommends pass as is. For all members present, any nays? Reservations? Chair, your motion is adopted.
Thank you. HB 1021, House Draft 1, and this is the Interstate Wildlife Violator Compact. Chairs recommend that we'll do a Senate Draft 1 highlighting only technical and non-substantive amendments, and I'd like to effect the date upon approval. Okay, any discussions? Hearing none, Senator Misalucha for the vote, Chair goes aye.
For House Bill 1021 HD1, Chair recommends pass with amendments. For all members present, are there any nays? Any reservations? There's 5 votes. Your recommendation's adopted, Chair.
Thank you. HB 1017 relating to crustaceans. Chair's recommendation is we move this forward to Judiciary with an SD1 highlighting only technical and non-substantive amendments. And this one here is effective upon approval as well. Any discussions? Hearing none. Okay, Senator Misalucha, Chair votes aye.
For HB 1017, Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Agaran.
Aye.
Senator Misalucha votes aye. Senator Riviere.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
5 ayes. Chair, your recommendation's adopted.
Okay, thank you. HB 1030, House Draft 2, relating to the Aquatic Life and Wildlife Advisory Committees. Chair's recommendation is to move this along to Judiciary as well with an SD1 highlighting technical and non-substantive amendments, and the effective date is upon approval. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Let's see, Senator Misalucha for the vote, Chair goes aye on amendments.
HB 1030, HD2, passed with amendments. Any all members present, any nays, any reservations? You have 5 votes. Chair, your recommendation's adopted.
Okay, thank you. HB 244, House Draft 1, relating to land recordation. This chair's recommendation is to move it on to the next committees of Ways and Means and Judiciary, and the chair's recommendation is to pass as is. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, Senator Misalucha,
For-
chair votes aye.
For HB 244, pass as is. Senator Inouye votes aye. Senator Agaran.
Aye.
Senator Misalucha votes aye. Senator Favela, or Revere, sorry.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
5 ayes. Your recommendation's adopted, Chair.
Thank you. HB 502, and this is relating to the rural districts. Chair's recommendation is to pass with an SD1 that includes technical and non-substantive amendments and effective upon approval. Any discussion? Hearing none, Senator Misalucha, chair votes aye with amendments.
For HB 502, HD2, the chair recommends pass with amendments. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Agaran.
Aye.
Senator Misalucha votes aye. Senator Riviere.
No.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
You have 4 ayes, 1 nay. Your recommendation's adopted.
Okay. Thank you. HB 834, House Draft 1, and this is relating to the Black Cinder Cone Quarry Site Survey. Chair's recommendation is we pass this measure as is. As it moves to WAM, I want to note that the appropriation is still blank. So move this measure as is. Chair votes aye.
For House Bill 834, HD1, Chair's recommendation is to pass unamended. For all members present, are there any nays? Any reservations?
Reservation.
Okay, so we have 4 ayes or 5 ayes, 1 reservation. Let me repeat that. 4 ayes, 1 reservation. Your recommendation's adopted, Chair.
Thank you. HB 497, House Draft 1, and this is relating to county zoning ordinances. Chair recommends that we move this with an SD1. They are technical and non-substantive amendments and effective upon approval. Any discussions? Okay. Hearing none, Senator Misalucha for the vote on with amendments. Chair votes aye.
For House Bill 497, Chair recommends pass with amendments. For all members present, are there any reservations? Any nays?
No vote.
No vote.
So you have 2 nays and 3 ayes. Chair, your recommendation's adopted.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, members. HB 1130, House Draft 2, relating to the TOD. Chair's recommendation is we pass this measure with amendments. That also includes technical and non-substantive amendments. Also, that it be effective upon approval. I'd like to add that I'd like to take the Office of Planning's amendments on page 3, line 18, noting that the Director of the Office of Planning, and that's to leave no questions as to which director is being referenced. So HB 1130, House Draft 2, is to pass with amendments. Senator Misalucha, chair goes aye.
For Committee on Water and Land, as regards to House Bill 1130, Chair recommends pass with amendments. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair Agaran.
Aye.
Senator Misalucha votes aye. Senator Riviere.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Reservations.
There are 4 ayes, 1 reservation. Chair, your recommendation's adopted.
Okay, thank you, members. Have a good weekend. We do have a hearing on Monday. Monday and Wednesday, that's it for Committee on Water and Land. And thank you all in Zoom land. Committee on Water and Land ends its hearing.